So let's make this like a PowerPoint presentation. So what can mathematics say about the Quran? What can mathematics say about the Quran? The mathematical miracles of the Quran. So that's the name that a new growing community of modern or new Muslims that reject all the Islamic tradition, and they focused only on the Quran, and they say God exists because Quran is a miraculous word and nobody else than God could written this book, because 1400 years ago it was impossible to somebody that called Muhammad could discover this mathematical formulas. All right, so let's start with an easy stuff, but it is not easy, but in comparison what you're gonna see, it is very easy, but still is very interesting. So there in the Quran, so this is let me take the Quran. So this is the Quran, right? You know it, but we are talking about the Arabic Quran, all right? So this is the Quran, okay? Oh, it was like this. Okay, so this is the Quran. So in the Quran, there are a lot of words, of course, because it's a language, it's an Arabic language. So in the Quran, there are a thing that we call number of repetition of some Quranic words, that their number of repetition is very significant. For example, the number of the word month, which is in Arabic is shahr, a month, is repeated in the Quran 12 times. By the way, I have a brute. So all these numbers, you can find all these number in this book. It's 19 by Edip Yüksel, and I also included all these numbers in my book, the Common Word, verse by verse. So you see, for example, a word, chapter 5, verse number 3, and all these numbers are references to the Quranic word repetitions. Okay, there are dozens of pages that I personally, one by one, found in the Quran, and you can find it online. The Quran.com and Corpus Quran. You can see Quran word by word. It's a program, so you can see all these words. So the number of repetition of the word month, it's 12 in the Quran. So there are 12 months in a year, and the number of repetition of that word is 12. In the same way, the number of repetition, the word day, which is the word yawm in Arabic language, is precisely 365. So Quran contains this word day in a different verses in the entire Quran, and the total number of the word day in the Quran is exactly 365. By the way, this information is relatively new information that has been discovered by Rashad Khalifa in 1974, when the first time somebody introduced the entire Quran in a computational system, so in a computer, and then they found it. Using the programs, they found the repetition of the words. Nobody in the history of Islam, never in any book, discussed the repetition of the words in the Quran. All right, so we have the word days, plural form, which is yawmain, which in Arabic is 2 days, is one word to say 2 days is yawmain, and days is ayyam. So these plural form of the word days has been repeated 30 times, corresponding a 30 days of a month. The word Satan, and in Arabic is shaitan, repeated in the entire Quran in number of 88, and that is the same number of the word angel, which is malaika, again repeated 88 times. Satan, angel, in the entire Quran in different verses, because in one verse there is no mention Satan and angel. So there are desperately different places in the entire Quran. So the total of each those words, it's 88. The word oppression, dhulm, has been repeated 15 times, and the opposite, it is justice, qist, in the Quran, repeated 15 times. The word say in the Quran has a lot of verses that starts with say, meaning that supposedly, according to the Quran, God says Muhammad to say something to others. So it starts, say, O people, follow me, for example. Okay, say, starts with say. So that word is qul in the Quran, has been repeated 332 times. And the opposite, which is they say, qalu, in the Quran is repeated 332 times. The word dunya, which means this world, has been repeated 115 times. Meanwhile, the word hereafter, akhirah, has been repeated 115 times. So these are only a few examples of the repetition of the words. You can find the entire list and the number of chapters and verse numbers in this book, and you can also find it online if you know Arabic, or if you want to learn Arabic and go online and find those words, you can find it. So we're going to pass this. This doesn't end here. This is only a few words. So this is, in my opinion, academically speaking as well, it's very interesting for a book. So it seems like who written the Quran put these words precisely with that number of repetition. It's very difficult to say this was about just a coincidence, right? So let's start with another mathematical code. So we are going now deeper and deeper, and this is not deep. We're going to see what deep means, okay? But just step by step and slowly. So the word, I mentioned this. So there is a code in the Quran, according to the studies. It says the code number is 19. That's why this book took the title of 19. So there is a particular verse in the Quran. It says there is 19 on it. So traditionally, that particular verse has been translated as, on the Quran there are 19 angels, but the original Arabic text doesn't have the word angels. So the objective of the verse is 19. The object of the verse is 19. There is 19 on it, on the Quran. So 19 is a number, but as it doesn't make any sense traditionally, you can, when you see that verse in the Quran, you read it 19 angels in English. That's why I mentioned in the past video, unfortunately, the traditions that we have are according to the hadith books. Remember, the Quran is the Islamic sources and the hadith books. I don't know if I have hadith books here. I might have a hadith book. Let me see. A hadith book. Yeah. This is a hadith book. It says Sahih al-Bukhari. It's not the Quran, but it is an explanation of the Quran. Supposedly, the Prophet Muhammad told these things to his companions, and this book has been written 230 years after Muhammad's death. So between this book, which is the Quran, and this book, there is 230 years of difference. And there is no internet, no written manuscripts of any kind of hadith in those 230 years. Okay, do not go so far, Dr. Lopez. Hey, you're explaining a lot of things, and I will not understand the real issue. Already, Corey, I'm very sorry. Very sorry. Okay, now forget about this. So there is a code that we called the code 19 or 19 code. So the word Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, which is, remember, in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. This word has 19 letters in its original Arabic form. Let me see here. You see? This is the Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. It has 19 letters. All right. Okay. So the word Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, has been repeated 114 times in the Quran. In the Quran, there are 114 chapters. And in 113 chapters, you have the first verse, in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, except the chapter 9. But in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, has been repeated inside another chapter. So the total number of this word is 114, which is 19 multiplied by 6. As well as the number of chapters is 114. 19 multiplied by 6. Okay. The first component of this verse, Bism, in the name of, this is one word in Arabic, has been repeated in the entire Quran 19 times. Again, I have all the numbers in my book here, and you can find in all the numbers, chapter and verse numbers in this book as well. If you're interested, you can buy it on Amazon. I'm not selling this, okay? I'm not making any profit of this. And this is Spanish, so I won't earn any money on this from you, okay? So you don't need to purchase this book in Spanish. All right, so the first component of these four words of in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, is Bism, in the name of, has been repeated in 19 times in the Quran. The name of God, Allah, God in Arabic, has been repeated in the entire Quran 2,698 times, which is exactly the multiplication of 114 and 142, and 114 is 19 multiplied by 6. Let me check this number. Let me check this number. I don't want to have any mistakes. Yes. Okay, so I put this incorrectly. So 19 multiply by no, not 98. 19. Hey, what's going on? Sorry for the confusion. $19 multiplied by 142. All right. Okay. Now the word Rahman, which is the third component of the word, which is merciful, has been repeated 58 times in the Quran. 19 multiplied by 3. And the fourth component, compassionate, Rahim, has been repeated 114 times. 19 multiplied by 6. By the way, these repetitions doesn't include the repetitions of in appearance of in this word. So besides Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, besides in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, in the entire Quran we found this repetition of numbers. So the very word of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim in the entire Quran is repeated 140 times, and each of its components in the Quran has been repeated, multiplied 19, and it's multiplied. Okay, let's continue. The Quran contains the total of 6,346 verses, which is 19 multiplied by 334. So it's not only the number of chapters repeated is multiplied by 19, also the verses. This 6,346 verses, it's multiplied by 334 multiplied by 19. According to the chronological order of the composition of the Quran, the first chapter that has been revealed supposedly to Muhammad, which is the chapter number 96, has 19 verses, and it's positioned 19th from the end. So it's positioned the number 19 from the end. The last revealed chapter, which is the chronological order, it's the chapter 110, has in total of 19 words, and its first sentence has 19 letters. This is very important. You're going to see why when we study Jesus in the Quran. This is very important. Word, Jesus, 19, the last chapter, and the first sentence, 19 letters. You're going to see the importance of this in the future for the intertheological dialogue between the Christian world and the Islamic world. All right, guys. Let's start to get in more details about 19. How this is? How is it? Do you like it? I'm not going to say anything. These guys are saying something to me. I can hear that, but I'm not going to share with you what they are saying to me. Okay. So, in the Quran, you have different numbers. For example, number of days, number of person, a group of people, or number of percentage, right? Numbers. There are numbers in the Quran. So these numbers, the numbers that appear in the Quran, there is no other numbers, the whole numbers, except these one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 19, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 99, 100, 200, 300, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 50,000, 100,000. So the total of all these numbers, you can have your calculator the total of all these numbers is 162,146, which is exactly the multiplication by 19 multiplied by 8,534. Exactly. No decimals. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. So, let's continue. In the Quran, there are also fractioned numbers. Fractioned numbers to calculate, to make some calculations. For example, the inheritance. The Quran has verses that orders or suggests believers before they die to make their testament for the inheritance, the heritage, okay, and divide all the belongings to the people. And the Quran uses fraction numbers on those verses. So there are between these fraction numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and these numbers, which is 30 numbers total, there are a total of 38 numbers. 38 numbers, which is 19 multiplied by 2. So the number of repetition of numbers is also multiplied by 19. Not only the total of the numbers can be divided perfectly to 19, but as well the total number that appears in the Quran, it's 38, which is 19 multiplied by 2. All right, we have in the Quran the words, the letters that we call huruf al-muqatta'. Huruf al-muqatta' are, I'm going to show you. For example, the chapter 2 begins with huruf al-muqatta' here. So this is Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and this is huruf al-muqatta', Alif, Lam, Mim. Alif is one letter, Arabic letter, which A, like A. Lam is L, Mim is M in Arabic. So in the Quran, you can find chapters that starts with one verse without any significance, no meaning. LM point, for example, chapter 2, verse 1. LM, period. Verse 2. What says? ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. This is the book that there is no doubt on it. It starts. And you have a lot of chapters that start with huruf al-muqatta'. Like, for example, Qaf, K, Nun, like N. And nobody until today thought that it could have a mathematical meaning in the Quran. All right, so let's start with some interesting information, which is not limited to what I'm going to show to you. The rest of those repetitions are here in this. You can find it in this book. For example, the chapter 50 starts with the huruf al-muqatta', the letter Qaf, which is like Q, let's say Q in English. It starts with Q and it's a one single verse. Okay? In that chapter 50, there is a total of 58 Qaf letters, 58 Qaf letters in the chapter, which is 19 multiplied by 3. The chapter 50, so this chapter has 45 verses. Okay, 45 verses. 50 plus 45 is 95 as well. Chapter 50, according to the who believes in this mathematical thing, the verse number and chapter number is also important, and it has to see with the number of repetition of the huruf al-muqatta. So 95 is 19 multiplied by 5. The chapter 42 also starts with the letter qaf, and it also has 58 times the letter qaf, which is 19 multiplied by 3. So the chapter 42 has this time 53 verses, and the chapter number and the verse number total makes 95, which is 19 multiplied by 5. Interesting, very interesting. There are other things. The chapter 50, which contains 58 times the letter qaf, 19 multiplied by 3, has a particular reference to Lot. You know, the prophet Lot has been also mentioned in the Bible. Lot. In the entire Quran, the people of Lot has been mentioned as Qawmi Lot. Qawmi Lot, people of Lot. Qawmi mean people, the people of Lot. Qawmi starts with the letter Qaf. But in the chapter 50, there is only one mention of the people of Lot, and in contradiction to the entire Quran, it doesn't say the Qawmi Lot, the people of God. But here in this particular chapter, it says Ikhwani Lot, which means the brothers of Lot, making reference to the people of Lot. Brothers of Lot, Ikhwani Lot. So if this verse, if this particular word would be Qawmi Lot, the number of the letter Qaf would exceed 1, and it would be 58, which is not a multiply by 19. So precisely in this chapter 50, there is only one time in the entire Quran that it says to the people of Lot, instead of using the word Qawmi Lot, Ikhwani Lot, which doesn't have the letter Qaf. I am not sure if I could explain this, because I know maybe it's too much information. You can go to behind and repeat that again, because it is very significant. And this is not the only one. There are much more examples in the book, but we don't have time to explain it. So actually, we can have an entire course on 19 to explain all these interesting mathematical coincidences of the Quran. Okay, so other example, chapter 68 starts with the letter Nun. It's a particular verse. Chapter 68, it's Nun. And that particular letter in the entire chapter has been repeated 133 times, which is 19 multiplied by 7 exactly. And in that chapter, there is a word which is Sahibul Hud. Sahibul Hud means the owner of the whale. If I ask you, who is the owner of whale in the Bible, what would you say to me? Jonas, right? Jonas. In Arabic is Yunus. Yunus and Jonas has the letter N, which is Nun in Arabic. But in chapter 68, in contradiction to the entire Quran, that chapter refers to Jonas instead of using his name, Sahibul Hud, the owner of the whale. So precisely, it seems like who wrote it down, this chapter, precisely didn't put the name Jonas, and instead of that particular word used another word that replace and make reference to Jonas. Because if Jonas has been used in this particular chapter, the number of repetition of the letter Nun would exceed to 69, and it won't be a perfect multiplied by 19. Good. Wow, a lot of things. So this is not deeper. This is not deep. There are much more deeper things, much more calculation, precise and perfect calculations. You're going to see. All right, let's start with the chapter 1. So the chapter 1, which is this chapter, Al-Fatiha, the opening, remember, it has 7 verses. Okay? It has 7 verses, including the Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, which is the only time in the Quran is numbered within a chapter. Okay? Okay. Chapter 1 has 7 verses. Now, we're going to do one thing. The first thing will going to be very easy, and it's not be miraculous, or so interesting, but the rest will be. So, we're going to put the number of chapter and the number of verses here. So this is the number of chapter. This is the verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, verse 4, verse 5, verse 6, verse 7. This number is exactly the multiplication of 19 plus this number. Now you might say, hey, Professor Lopez, this coincidence could be in every single book that has 1 chapter, and after 1 chapter has 7 verses. You're right, it could be, but let's continue. Now start to calculate instead of putting the number of the verse, let's put the number of each letter of each verse. So we say chapter 1, the first verse has Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, has 19 letters. The second verse, 17 letters. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The second is 17. The third, 12 letters. The fourth, 11. The fifth, 19. The sixth, 18. The seventh, 14 letters. The division of this number to 19, it's exactly this number. By the way, you can open a 100 number calculator online and you can do this math by yourself. When I wrote my book, I did it, each of these calculations, at least 5 times. Because when you want to write a book, you don't want to make any mistake because it's written. All right, now let's go to deeper. Gematria of each verse. You might say, what is gematria? Okay, let me open gematria. Arabic gematria. Well, let's start with Roman gematria. Okay. So as you know, each letter has a number, right? In Latin, Roman, or in Hebrew, okay? Each letter has a number, correspondence. Let's see gematria of Arabic. Okay. So this is the Arabic letters. In Arabic letters, each letter has one mathematical value. This cause is gematria. You can find what gematria is. Okay? Alif 1, B 2, Jim like C or J 3, Dal 4, and so on. Ha, Waw, Zal, Ha, Ta, Ya, Kef. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 200. So you can make all calculations with the letters. Every single letter in Arabic language has one mathematical corresponding. All right, let's start with this. What is this? Gematria of each verse in the chapter 1. Gematria of each verse. We will add the gematria, total gematria of each verse. So, chapter 1, 19 letters. The gematria, the total number, the mathematical value of the those letters is 786. Second verse, 17 letters. Gematria this. Third verse, fourth verse, fifth verse, sixth verse, and seventh verse. You see all the total of gematria of these verses. This exact number can divide it precisely without decimals to 19. This is very interesting. Now, we have gematria of each verse plus the number of the verse. When we add chapter 1, verse 1, 19 letters, gematria. Chapter 2, 17 letters, gematria. Verse 3, 12 letters, gematria. And so on, 4, 5, 6. This number can be divided perfectly to 19, and the result is this. No decimals. You can do it. If you change this to this or this to this, you cannot find a perfect number. If you change this and you put 1 to 2 and 2 to 1, you will not find a perfect number. Never. I calculated one by one. Impossible. Only this sequence of numbers can be divided perfectly to 19. This is going to be deeper, guys. Wait. Let's talk about Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Let's forget about the chapters. Now focus on the Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. 19 letters, and let's see the gematria of each letter. You can open, meanwhile you're seeing this, or meanwhile you have this PowerPoint slides open, you can go to the internet, open gematria Arabic letters, and check if I'm correct or not. The number of the mathematical value of each Arabic letter is written here. So Bism is B, Sin, and Mim. There is no vocals in Arabic. So Ba, this, gematria number 2. Sin, this, you can see here, the second, 60. Mim, 40. The total of the Bism is 102. Allah, Alif, Lam, Lam, Ha. Alif, Lam, Lam, Ha. 1, 3, 30, 30, L, Ha, 5, 66. Al-Rahman, this is the article. Rahman the Merciful. Alif, Lam, A-L, and Rahman, Mim, Nun, Ra, 200. Every single word is here. 329. Don't sleep, guys. I know that you're not sleeping. This is very interesting. Actually, I'm calling, if you're a mathematician, or if you have a friend that's a mathematician, let's bring him to calculate this and see if this could be made by, I don't know, I would say man, but maybe this guy's. Wait. All right. So you have Al-Rahman. The gematria of that word is 329. Al-Rahim. By the way, this is not H. This is not the same H. This is Ha, because there are 3 H's in Arabic. Ha, Ha, and Kha. 3 different. So this is Ha. This H is 8. Al-Rahim is 289. All right. Let's put the total of letters. Okay. The first word has 3 letters. This is very important. You're going to see why. The second word has 4 letters. The third word has 6 letters, and the fourth word has 6 letters. Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This number can perfectly be divided by 19 without decimals. Okay. Now, Fibonacci number, accumulative total of numbers. If you're going to see the video that I put, you're going to see how Fibonacci number works. It demonstrates a very powerful mind behind all the things that in the universe. Okay, it has been discovered 500 or 600 years ago, not 1400 years ago. Not this. This is a new thing. So it's accumulative mathematics, accumulative numbers. So instead of putting what we did here, we put verse 1 3 letters. Sorry, word 1 3 letters, word 2 4 letters. So we're going to put the accumulative numbers. The first word 3 letters. The second, you're going to assume 3 plus 4 7. The third letter is 7 plus 6 13. The fourth letter is 13 plus 6 19. That means that this number must be precisely this number in order to have a perfect accumulative number to be divided by 19 perfectly without decimals. You see? All right, let's continue. Now, instead of putting the number of letters of each word, we're going to put the number of gematria, the total of gematria of those letters. This word total is 102. The second word is 66. The third word 329, and the fourth word is 289. This number, you can use the calculator, can exactly be divided by 19, and you're going to have this number without any decimals. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. What a word, mathematical word. Let's continue deeper, deeper, deeper. Now we're going to use the Fibonacci number, the accumulative gematria of each word, as we did when we were calculating the number of letters. We made the accumulative number of letters as well. We did the total number of gematria. Now we're going to do the accumulative number of gematria. The first word, 102. The second is 102 plus 66, this number, 168. The third is this with this together, 497. The fourth is the total of these two, and you're going to have this number. This number, you can check it, can be divided exactly by 19 without any decimals, perfectly. What a perfect sentence. Can this be made by a single human being 1400 years ago? What does this mean? I'm going to put this as in our discussion block. What does this mean? Is it magic? All right. Now, you're going to say, what if I put, instead of the total of the gematria of the word, what would you think that I would put instead of the total, the equivalent number of each letter? One letter by one. Each letter, accumulative. Not accumulative, sorry. Gematria of each letter. So, the first word, Ba2, 60, 40. Word 2, Alif 1, Lam 30, Lam 30, Ha 5. 3, this, each of them. 4, each of them. This is a number. So this is a number. You put that number and divide it by 19, it's going to give you this number without decimals. A perfect gematria of each letter. I am surprised. You can change, for example, instead of putting 1 here, put 30 here and 1 here. Or put 30 here, 40 here. You're not going to have the perfect number. You're not. The only way to have is this. Each letter needs the other letter. Each number needs the other number perfectly in order to have this coincidence. I don't know how many billions or trillions of possibilities must be inside here in order to have this number. Now, Let's gonna be more crazy. This is crazy. This is the craziest thing ever. But let's gonna be more crazy. Let's gonna do the accumulative gematria of each letter, Fibonacci number. So instead of having this, let's accumulate like we did in the other verses, in the other letters. So the first word, letter Ba, is number 2. Sin, S, 60. Instead of 60, I will put 62. So the third is gonna be 62 plus 40, 102. This one will be 102 plus 1. This one will be 103 plus 30. This one will be 133 plus 30, and so on. You can do it. You can do it by yourself, guys. It is incredible. So you have this number. Can you believe that this number perfectly can be divided perfectly without any decimals to this number? What would mathematics say about the Quran? I don't know the answer yet, but it's interesting. If you change one of these verses, if you change one of the gematria of one word or the place, you won't have a perfect number. All right, we finished today's class. I hope you enjoyed. There are much more things on 19, but this is about one particular class. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, send me an email, and please watch the other video as well. And next week we're going to have the review of all the classes in order to have our midterm exam, and I'm going to put the hour and the place of the midterm exam as well. Have a blessed day. Bye bye.